Let's see. Which way do I want to get under? Probably that way. Let's go like this. Okay. So I've got a problem right now with my 4Runner where when you turn on the car, it's got the normal seatbelt dinger, and then it's got that. It's got the ABS light on. So I'm gonna try and fix that today. I recently did a brake job. I replaced the brake cylinder on this wheel. I also did the Tundra brake upgrade up front here. So lots of brake bleeding. So I'm going to try to figure out what the problem is. It's either going to be nice and easy, bleed the brakes. I'm gonna have to replace some parts, or I'm just gonna pull the fuse and not have ABS. So we'll figure it out today. I was told the fix for this could be I need to bleed the brakes with the engine on. So I'm gonna try that out, see if that fixes the problem. Still beeping. Yeah. Well, with a bleeding job, I'm gonna want more brake fluid, so I'm gonna go buy some more. I'll just do this job in the dark, it'll be fine. All right. I made it back from Walmart, got some dinner as well, and I've got a new bottle of .3 brake fluid. Now with this reservoir being empty, hopefully this is just, I need to fill the brake fluid and then bleed the brakes and have this done. Hopefully. So I'm gonna do that and let's get started. We can finish filling it the rest of the way. Now that there's actually brake fluid in there, I can actually see the line. Alright, now that's at max. So I'm going to go ahead and start bleeding the brakes and then fill it up after each wheel. So cold, you can see my breath. Alright, what I'm going to do for this, to make sure there's no air left in the brakes, I'm going to push on the brake pedal 10 times per wheel while I have the bleeder valve open so that I can get that in the system. So let's get on that. So for me to bleed my brakes on my own, I've got this little contraption I found from someone else's suggestion. So what we've got here is a tube that can fit over the bleeder, and then we've got some brake fluid in the bottom so that no air comes back up when we're pushing on the brakes and the fluid is coming through the tube. So you want to have that tube in the brake fluid just like that. And then we'll take this cap off. Now these bleeder valves, normally on the 3rd gen 4Runner, they are 10 millimeters, but since these are Tundra brakes, it's got a different bleeder size that came with it. It's not quite an 8 millimeter, a 7 millimeter is too small, a 1/4 is too small, and a 5/16 is too big. So I can't really find the correct size, but 8 millimeters close enough, so I'm just going to use that. I like to use this end to be able to put it on here, and then I put the hose on top of that on the bleeder valve. Hopefully this isn't too cold for me to put this on. I probably shouldn't have left it out when I was at the store. Okay. Come on. Whoa. Yep, that is a cold tube. Ooh. Take a break for a second. Alright, that should be on enough. So now we can open up the valve and then I'll go in, start the engine, and then start bleeding the brakes. So on the rear axle here, you actually want to do the rear wheels first because they're further away from the brake cylinder, and so you can learn from my mistakes, but now I'm gonna be doing the back next. And this one looks like I may not have tightened the bleeder valve all the way last time I did this. So let's do that properly this time. I won't show you the process again because it's just the same. But I did turn off the engine again because there's a lot of exhaust that gets back here, and I'm more worried about my health than the health of the car. So I'll just be turning off the engine every time I come back here and then turn it on again when I bleed the brakes, just to make sure everything's gonna work. Now I'll get on that. So I finished bleeding all 4 brakes. I felt like the brake pump wasn't working properly. So, I mean, that's most likely why the ABS system is malfunctioning. But it's really cold out here right now. And I finished bleeding all 4 brakes. So, hopefully, results will be different tomorrow. So I'm gonna leave it here and then finish working on it tomorrow when it's warmer. So, it is the next day. I decided last night to unplug the battery, give the ECU time to reset. Hopefully it rechecks the brakes and everything. So we'll see what happens. Let's go ahead and plug in the battery again. Little sparky. Cleaning gloves. All right, let's see what happens. Drat. Well, it may just need a test drive. I don't know. I'll play around with it. Well, good news. After about 10 minutes of driving, the noise stopped, the ABS light turned off, and the 4Runner seems to be running normally again. If you have a similar problem with the ABS noise, I hope this helps out. I'm going to be taking this back on the trails again, so I'll see you in the next one.